We wanted to launch a new boat for a very long time, and like obviously Titan was going to be it, but it didn't quite come together. So our learnings pointed us towards Overwatch.
There was a point in time when we decided to move away from Titan and onto Overwatch, and probably the hardest thing was, knowing when Titan was not going to work out and not be successful, and sort of when to pull the plug on the project.
The end of Titan was pretty rough. We did not achieve what we set out to achieve, and we had to pick ourselves up and assess, well, what now?
It was after we decided to halt production on Titan, the team spent some time evaluating a lot of different options for what potentially we'd work on next. One of the things that was really fun on Titan that we spent a lot of time playing was a PvP mode that was team-based. So we knew there was something there.
So I remember the first time that Jeff Kaplan had pitched the idea to me, and right away I knew it was kind of the game that I just never knew that I always wanted to make. And it was just a mix of the idea of having all of these unique characters with all different backstories, different abilities in a first-person shooter.
There was always some kind of like, wow, do you think we can really nail a shooter? We haven't really tried anything like that before. But we know, we can nail multiplayer, type games. We've tried a lot of them over the years and had some success. So it felt like a good mix of the universes that we had, built before, and it felt like a good balance, a good place to invest.
What we really wanted to do was make a game that spoke to everybody on a team, and it's something that we all felt passionate about. And the Overwatch universe came out of that.
Overwatch is this game that takes place in a bright and beautiful future. And I think one of the most important things to remember about the Overwatch universe is that there is conflict there. There are, good things happening and bad things. But as a vision of the future, it's bright and hopeful.
Jeff had such a vision for the kind of shooter he wanted to build, and just ultimately the gameplay he wants to play, that was very infectious. I think we all wanted to get behind him and, help him achieve his dream.
The initial reveal for Overwatch at BlizzCon was a pretty amazing time because we've been working on the game for quite some time. We knew we had something playable, we had something fun.
It was absolutely magical is the only way I can describe it. It was the most special BlizzCon moment that I had ever had in all my years at Blizzard.
We felt like we had a lot to prove to the rest of Blizzard, and that we were really hungry. And so we kind of approached it with a lot of humility, because when you look at Blizzard as a company and you look at the other games that we put out there, the Warcraft games, Diablo and StarCraft, we were trying to put something out there that we were hoping would turn into something as big as what these other teams have made.
That was the highlight of my career, really. I mean, up to this point. Just seeing Chris on the stage during opening ceremony, talking about the game right before, the cinematics unveiled, and just looking left and right, everybody's just really excited to see what the reactions of everybody else would be in the audience.
I think we needed this idea, just to get our mojo back. It's funny now when it gets close to going out, it strikes me that I almost don't even care how it does. That's a ridiculous thing to say, but I don't, because we love it. We all kind of play every day, and this is an idea I think we're going to be entertaining for a very long time, many years to come. We've essentially built this kind of future world where there was kind of this golden age of heroism embodied by this group called Overwatch. And it asks a fundamental question: as the world is darkened in their absence, could it come back?
The backstory to the Overwatch universe, at least the period of time in which we're representing Overwatch, is at a crux, almost like an identity crisis for the group itself. So previously, there had been a conflict, like a worldwide conflict that had taken place, where a group called the Omnics, which are in essence robots, had risen up and kind of gone to war with humanity.
Countries were unable to deal with the problem, so the UN essentially put together this new strike force called Overwatch that was really great soldiers and warriors and scientists from different countries around the world, in this coalition that ultimately defeated these robots and saved the world.
After Overwatch defeated the Omnics, they kind of proliferated in kind of policing the world, and it grew into this big global organization that people looked up to and people thought was a good thing generally.
Overwatch agents over time kind of became a lot like rock stars. Like people all around the world knew these agents, and had, little kids had posters of them on their walls, and they were just kind of these butt-kicking celebrity peacekeepers. And at some point, things go terribly wrong, and Overwatch, for a number of reasons, just begins to fall apart.
The public favor turned against Overwatch, and Overwatch was shunned and eventually was shut down. All the heroes kind of dispersed and went off in their own directions.
And that's the point at which Overwatch, the game, sort of starts. You have all of these heroes, in essence, who are not allowed to be heroes together, but are still trying to be heroes together.
Winston?
So the thing that drives a character's development, it's unique for every character. Some characters started out with a piece of concept art. Some things were more mechanic driven. Some things start as just like an idea. It's like, hey, what would a cybernetic monk be like? And that's the great thing about having 21 heroes in the lineup with all these different backgrounds, looks, gameplays. There's something there. There's a hero for everyone.
We locked in pretty early on wanting to be very inclusive with the game. Since it's based on Earth, we want it to feel like it's a wide, exotic cast of characters from all over the world.
Obviously, gender's there, race is there, nationality's there. There's good guys and bad guys and questionable people in between. So to us, it's not about capturing everybody, but giving everybody hope that they belong.
You have like Soldier 76, he used to be called Jack Morrison. There's a counterpart, Gabriel Reyes. Guys like Reinhardt, Torbjorn, Mercy. I think a lot of the variance in the hero lineup comes from the way that the heroes are designed.
I think every hero they all have like a unique path for their creation. Some come together very quickly. Sometimes there's a little bit more of a rockier path, but that's just something that, working with like everyone on the team, it all sort of comes together. We find consistency and end up with a really cool character.
The hero Farah was originally called Rocket Dude. He had these great gameplay mechanics that we knew would just gel really well, and later Chris and Michael Chu layered in their story on top of it, and Arnold just drew this amazing character. We switched it to female. We came up with the awesome blue power armor that was on her. But the evolution of the heroes has been one of the most exciting things to be a part of.
You have characters like Roadhog, for instance, a Blizzard staple type of character. We had the big dude with a hook. And it was interesting to see Roadhog and Junkrat come together. They weren't designed as a duo, but that's when it all kind of clicked.
The best character in Overwatch is the one that you, the player, have an immediate emotional response to.
I've been loving May, and it's for her personality, her emotes where she gets all giddy and she kind of jumps around a little bit. And she has some hilarious voice lines where she's saying, I'm sorry.
I really like the design of Zarya's weapon, the way she can absorb energy and kind of dish it back out. But not only that, I love her visual design as well. Just having that strong woman with a big cannon, I think is a really cool archetype.
I think the most important character in Overwatch is Winston. When we first put up that announcement trailer, and then this gorilla falls through the ceiling, right? It starts talking and, enjoying the exhibit, or whatever it was. It's just, okay, they're running with giant intelligent gorillas. All bets are off, and indeed they are.
If these heroes can inspire people, or if we can have a hero that connects with everybody, I think that's what is really important.
We had a bunch of school kids come in, and one of the things that was the most heartwarming was watching, there was a row, and it was all girls. The 6 of them all picked Diva at the same time. They're not picking heroes based on knowledge of the game, or they've read on the internet that this guy's better than that guy. They're having a pure emotional response to a hero, and they just said, look at how cool she is. I get to drive a giant robot, and it's pink. And I'm like, that's what makes the best hero in Overwatch.
I think the things that make Overwatch a success are kind of the classic Blizzard elements of the gameplay is really tight and very thoughtfully rendered and then painstakingly balanced.
A common misconception is that we were able to take a bunch of assets from Titan, and that's what was sort of the foothold to make Overwatch. But You know, the assets from Titan were completely incompatible, both from a technology standpoint, but also in terms of art and design. You know, while there were some similarities, they really are two totally separate games. So, in essence, we were really starting from scratch in a lot of ways with Overwatch, and to do that in such an accelerated development cycle was a pretty huge challenge.
We wanted to build a shooter that could feel heroic and that would feel like fun and cooperative with people, as opposed to kind of more of a cynical, brutal shooter. We want to build one where you're laughing and you're having fun and you're trying different things out on the fly, and that you really have fun playing with your friends and can still be friends after the match is over. You know, kind of a more heroic kind of game.
A lot of the Overwatch team has worked on previous Blizzard titles, and even though Overwatch is very unique, you know, it's an FPS, it's competitive only, I think that there's a lot of Blizzard DNA from our other games in Overwatch. Like a great example is how we handle world building and world design.
We really wanted the game to feel global. It was one of our most important values for maps, was to set them all over the world in cool, exotic locations. And so I think we've accomplished that. From there, we always wanted the maps to make all the heroes feel as cool as possible.
Rather than just building 12 maps and then figuring out how many game modes we could kind of cram into those maps, we felt like it was more important to just master a single game mode per map.
The game modes in Overwatch, for the most part, are asymmetrical game modes. And so you will be given a role. It will be the role of attacker or defender, and you might need to attack and capture 2 points throughout the map. And then as we started playing it more, we really started putting as much polish and as much detail into the maps for the particular mode that they were in.
The game puts all of its emphasis on winning or losing as a team. It's not about individual play at all, or your personal statistics. It's all about, you know, you and the 5 other people you are partied with, and what success or failure can you enjoy together, all taking place in a really dynamic world setting.
So esports is definitely important to us. Like for Overwatch, we'd love for the game to be a successful esport, but for us, the core of that, first and foremost, is making a fun game. And then with esports, it's making the game easy to watch, easy to understand.
We've paid a lot of attention to the shooter community and what they want out of a game and what they expect for it to be highly competitive. Yet at the same time, it's this bright, welcoming universe, and we've invested a lot of effort into making the game approach all players, whether they're hardcore FPS players or brand new players to the genre, to say like, hey, this is a welcoming experience. There's a way for you to be a part of this as well.
Shipping a game is just the beginning for Blizzard. In the future, we'll definitely see improvements, to spectator. We'll see some new content. But then after that, I think that there's a whole lot of different possibilities, and we're not exactly sure even what those might be. We're just all excited that we have this amazing world, this amazing setting to potentially do a lot of things.
In many ways, Overwatch is a new way of doing all sorts of things here at Blizzard. So all I can conclude is we got all sorts of ideas we want to chase into the future. We're hoping that the game finds its audience and people really dig it.
For me, it's just knowing that we've made a really fun game. At the end of the day, knowing that as a developer, I put my heart and soul into this and made a game that's fun for people to play, that's what really drives us. That's what I know it's a success.